morning. I'm Rebecca Ellen, and I'm an analyst covering the industrial machinery sector. I'm pleased to introduce our next speaker, Selim Bassoul, Chairman and CEO of Middleby Corporation. You may not be familiar with the name Middleby, but I would imagine that everyone in this room has at some point eaten food that was prepared by a Middleby appliance. Whether it is your breakfast sandwich at Starbucks, a pizza from Pizza Hut, or the Viking oven in your kitchen today, Middleby's products are ubiquitous at restaurants, industrial food processing plants, and homes around the world. But this wasn't always the case. When Selim joined Middleby in 1996, the company was struggling with poor product quality and money-losing operations. Selim's bold moves to right-size the business and introduce the company's signature 90-day no-quibble warranty got the business back on track and have set the stage for what Middleby is today: a leading provider of commercial, food processing, and residential kitchen equipment focused on technology and bringing innovative new products to market. Since our first investment 3.5 years ago, revenues have almost doubled and the stock price has over tripled. As you are about to see, the passion that Selim has for the products and the company is truly contagious, and we are very excited about the initiatives and the strategy that Middleby has in place for the future. And with that, I am pleased to introduce Selim Bassoul.
Aaron, thank you very much. Aaron, thank you. Good morning. I'm delighted to be invited today here. I have to tell you, to get onto the Barron funds and picking up Middleby, it's harder than getting into West Point or Harvard. Ron most probably has to grill me so much, and Rebecca must have come in 20 times to our factories to make sure that we're real. So for this, I'm going to start with a little bit of a short video. And in the meantime, while the video is coming up, Mary, up there, when you had breakfast this morning at Dunkin' Donuts, you had it on our equipment. Yesterday, John, when you went to Subway and had this toasted sub, both the bread baked on our oven and the 20-second toasted sandwich came from us. I think Phil, when you went to Cheesecake Factory, you're there, right there, I can see you with your family. It's all your meals were prepared on us. But the most important, I'm going to take you beyond that. Esmeralda, sitting right there from the Philippines when you went to visit your family, and you took your nieces and nephew to Jollibee in Manila, it's all on us. I have to say, most important, when I took my customers for a good steak, I take them to where? To either Ruth's Chris, Smith-Soloensky, or Morton's. They were all made on our equipment. So we'll talk a little bit about what we do. Right now, let's roll the video.
Man, we should have did this segment during a commercial. These guys went at it already. Here's his first stock idea of the day. Middleby. And I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely love this company. It's not a high-flying tech. It's one of my favorite names out there. Listen, we talk all the time about the hot restaurants. A lot of them aren't even publicly traded. But as an investor, you don't have to guess who's going to have the hottest burger, the hottest pizza, because this company is going to be a huge beneficiary from the fact that we do eat out a lot more. In the second quarter, their sales are up 16.8%. That's with acquisitions. Without it, organically, 11%. But here's the key. Gross margins went to 39.2% from 37.5%. Operating margins, 17.8% from 6.6%. That's good stuff. The company is a juggernaut in each of its business segments. Now, it's in commercial food services. That's a $4 billion global market. They've got sales. Their sales in the last quarter were up 10%. Get this. They're number one in pizza, fast casual, convenience, deli, steak, chicken, Pan-Asia, and casual. They're also in food processing. Their sales were up 6.2% there. Number one in hot dogs, bacon, and sausage. That got Matt on board right away. And then residential kitchens. 20% higher, almost 21%, powered by Viking. International growth has averaged 20% in each of the last 5 years. It's an innovative company. Guys, if you ever go to their website and you see the stuff that these guys are churning out, these products are so amazing. That's how they stay ahead of the competition. That's why they keep taking market share. They're even working on a food waste to biofuel product. Over the next 5 years, the street things are going to grow at a rate of 2 times the industry average. That means they're taking a lot of market share. I'm going to be conservative and say this is a $120 stock. Matt, what do you think of it?
I like it. A couple caveats, but I like it. I'm a home chef myself. I don't own the Viking or anything high-end like that, but I cook quite a bit. In fact, earnings are up 27%. Gross margins up from 37.5 to 39.1. I will say one thing, though. Revenue up 17%. However, without acquisitions, this company grows through via acquisitions, only up 11%. So they're taking market share, not organic, but inorganic growth. That's the one concern I have.
How can you be a home chef without the Viking, my man?
It's expensive. It's expensive, and they're big, first of all, and you got to vent them out. You got to put a hole in your house just to buy one. But based on the home building, once that takes off,
Well, let me tell you what she says. She said, I need to have a Viking in my home. But she said, better than a Viking, I want a pizza oven in my backyard. So let me give you a little bit of my background. Yos, who just presented, I am coming exactly from the neighboring country from Yos. So he's from Israel, I'm from Lebanon. So I grew up in Lebanon, went to Jesuit school, and from there went to the American University of Beirut. And my parents, I am a child of the Civil War. My parents did not have money. And what happened is I graduated #1 from the American University of Beirut, and I had 2 choices. I wanted to do my MBA, and I could have stayed in Beirut, where I got a scholarship to continue my MBA at the American University of Beirut, or I could have come to the United States. So I talked to my parents, and I said, what do we do? So my parents had only 1 piece of land they inherited, 1 piece. They said, Selim, we're going to sell that only piece of land that was for our retirement to send you to America. It's a lot of pressure. They sold that piece, thank you, and I came here. And I tell you the 2 lessons I learned when I grew up in Lebanon. 1, my father was an Olympic swimmer. There was no swimming pool in Lebanon. So he swam in the Mediterranean until he competed the first time. He got into a swimming pool and won records after records until he made the Olympics in 1948. So it taught me that it doesn't matter what the tools you have, you can succeed. Number 2, my aunt was a Catholic nun. She was the Mother Teresa of Lebanon, of the Middle East. In fact, she was the only one allowed to cross from Lebanon to Israel on the border because she ran orphanages all over the Middle East. And she told me one thing. She said, Selim, lead with compassion. Leave a legacy. So I came to the United States. I graduated with MBA. I worked for healthcare for a company called American Hospital Supply. And I worked for the best CEO ever. His name is Carl Bass. He took me from basically the MBA to the Middle East to China. And he taught me how to build a brand. However, in the United States, I learned about 3 things from the American public. I became an American citizen, but I learned 3 things. I learned, number 1, that you have to give back. I've never seen anything like this. Until I came to America, I was young. I didn't have any money. And I looked at people giving back time and money back to things they believed in. Number 2, I've learned that in the United States, people took risks. Number 3, the American public is highly resilient. They fail, they come up, they get up, they fail, they get up until they find it. So in our business, 80% of our restaurant owners fail in the first year. Within 5 years, 60% fail, but many of them pick up and move. So I came and joined Middleby in 1996. So I met a chef called Jean Banchet. You will know who he is because many of you might have eaten at his restaurant. He owned a restaurant called Le Francais in Wheeling, Illinois. He was known as one of the best chefs in America. Jean Banchet died at the age of 72, penniless. He had no money. I learned something about that. He left Le Francais, went to Atlanta, opened La Ciboulette, opened Riviera, and you know why he didn't make any money? Because when Jean was not in the kitchen, people didn't go to eat. They wanted only Jean to prepare their meal when it was at $100 a meal. Number two, Jean was not able to consistently prepare the meal every night. Why? Because sometimes he was tired. So he did not rely on the most refined, versatile equipment, and he couldn't train his people beyond him. Story number two. A friend of mine in Atlanta, Georgia, a Lebanese, opened a restaurant called Cedars. Him and his brother worked very hard, extremely hard, to basically make a living. So he came to me in 1997 and said, Selim, I want to buy everything from you. So I gave him a huge discount. He bought the equipment from me. A year later, I said, Nasser, how is my equipment? He said, Selim, literally, it's not much better than the used equipment I used to buy. That shocked me. I said, wait a minute. I have to do something to change the way we do business. Jean Banchet, a friend of mine, I was not making people successful. Nasser and his brother ended up buying equipment from me, but it was not revolutionary. That day changed my life. I said, I'm going to disrupt. So in 90 days, what did we do? We got rid of refrigeration, we got rid of dishwasher, of everything, and we started looking at cooking. I said, I'm going to help people succeed. So what did we do? Simple. I'm going to give you an example of how we change cooking. We transform this business. Simple. I start with a burner. This is what the burner used to look and still looks in most of our competitors. This is our burner. Let me tell you the difference. Ours is patented. It's non-clog. It never clogs. It goes to 25,000 BTU, or it can simmer, and you can put a paper plate on it when you're simmering, and it never burns the plate. I went beyond that. I said, okay, what do we do? In 2006, we introduced our touchscreen control. Why did we introduce touchscreen control? Because 400% turnover in our customer base. They cannot train them. So we introduced touchscreen when nobody had touchscreen. So I'm going to give you a perspective. Just to let you know, Steve Jobs in 2006 did not have touchscreen on his iPad or iPhone. In fact, if you remember, it was the wheel. If you remember the iPod, it was the wheel. I was in touchscreen before anybody else in the United States. Thank you. What's unique about this, that phone company called me because, God bless his soul, the founder went to a Papa John and sorted out touchscreen. The uniqueness of our touchscreen versus any phone out there is that if you leave it in the heat, your phone, it will have that signal. How many of you have had that signal if you leave your phone? Well, ours worked in an environment where the heat is in the kitchen. So they wanted our touchscreen control, and we said no, because we're not in the business of selling IP. We own our IP. We revolutionized the kitchen equipment. We're putting it on fryers, we're putting it on ovens, we're putting it everywhere. Most important, Morton's came to me, and they said, Selim, we have 70 stores. We want to be able to offer a steak that people cannot reproduce in their homes. I said, okay. So, many of you have been to Smith Wollensky, Ruth's Chris, The Pal, Chicago Cut in Chicago, and Morton's. This is what people used to use in a broiler. This is a traditional broiler. Many of you have seen this. It exists in your range somewhere. So we created a patented broiler that looks like this. So this is ours. What does it do? It heats inside out the steak. So you will never be able on your grill or at home to produce what Morton's does. Otherwise, nobody would go to Morton's. Why spend $100 on a steak if you can do it at home? So what we've done is we've created, and now we're putting this in Viking. This is the new 7 Series. It has the Morton's broiler and the Viking range. So let's move forward. So not everything has been a success. So in 2006, everybody was converting from fatty oil to fat-free oil, from oil shortening to vegetable oil. So everybody wanted to expand the life cycle. So what happened? We found out that if you put a magnet in the fryer and you heat the magnet, it extends the shelf life of the oil. The problem is the FDA came back to us say, hey, wait a minute, you can't put a magnet right in the fryer, you have to coat it because you're touching the food. So by the time we coated that magnet, the value proposition was too expensive. So nobody would use that technology. So fast forward exactly 10 years, we buy Viking. So now we're introducing what I call plasma cluster. What does it do? We heat the magnet, you put that thing in your refrigerator, it will kill bacteria and mold on contact. Since I don't have to touch the food, the FDA doesn't go to me and say, you have to coat this. So the payback has been phenomenal. Now, let's talk away about this. The most important we've done is one of my mentors and my most valued company is Costco. What I like about Costco is that you can return anything at Costco, including flowers. So Jim Senegal, who's a mentor, who's the founder and chairman of Costco, said to me, Selim, you're doing so much innovation. Why don't you create, similar to Costco, a no-quibble warranty? So since 1999, we're the only company that creates a no-quibble warranty. So for 90 days, if you don't like the product, we tell you this does fantastic, we'll take it back. Now we're implementing the same at Viking. So you buy a Viking product, it doesn't measure up to what we tell you it does, we'll take it back. Number 2, we found out, I was in the office on a Friday night. This was in 1998. And I got this call. I was only me and Sam Sidani in the office, and it was one of our customers calling and said, Selim, my oven is down. Can you help me? Well, there's nobody in the office. Everybody's left. It's 6 o'clock. He said, Selim, I have a big party on Saturday at lunch, and my oven is down. So me and Sam Sidani, basically went to the airport, took that part, it was in Raleigh, North Carolina, put it on an American airline flight, shipped it to him, he picked it up and fixed the oven. Since then, we are open on weekends. We open when our customers open. We've changed our business. Now, what is interesting is no competitors have ever copied us. You would think this would be basic. Now, Yas, I'm going back to you. You said that the best thing in a kitchen is the countertop. I disagree, because I destroy your countertop by putting my Viking equipment in there. Viking and appliances, I hate to say, come number 1. Caesar stone come number 2. On this, I'm going to basically leave you with the following. Where do we go from here? Emerging markets. I'm going to create a legacy. I'm going to tell you what my legacy is. I'm going to leave that. It's not a commercial. We've been highly successful. 1 out of 3 restaurants around the world use our product. We are hot. We are just basically, we just released our earnings. You can look at that. I don't want to talk about this. 4 billion people around the world spend all day scavenging for wood and debris to be able to cook and feed themselves every day. They are mostly women and children and girls. Men sit behind. In Lebanon alone, we have right now around 2 million Syrian refugees. They are in camps. The winter is approaching. My legacy is I'm in the work of creating our technology so that people can take it and be able, for very little money, to create a cooker that will require very little debris or solar paneled, and they can charge their phone and purify the water. Our legacy at Middleby. Thank you. Our challenge is to give it for free. My challenge is to charge another $100 more on every pound of my equipment and be able to make all those women and those girls that should have been in school and start looking for things to go back and have a dignity. That's my legacy, and thank you for being here. Thank you. So, we are raffling this beautiful Viking. It's a beautiful Viking. It has a lot of technology, as you could see. It has a lot of gadgets, and we're raffling all of this. So I'm going to open it up for questions and answers.
Selim, thank you very much for your time. Love to hear your comments. What is your biggest challenge going forward? Is it other competition, or is it the products that you're trying to design and making them better?
Well, competition is always important. I don't want to have a hubris. They try to catch up with us, but it's difficult because my competitors are all diversified companies like ITW, Manitowoc, Dover Industry. That's what we do. So it's tough to compete against us. That's all what we do. So the question has been, where do we go from here? My challenge is our industry is very slow to adapt. So the biggest two trends for us is water. Water is the next black oil. Water is going to get very expensive, and restaurants use a lot of water. So we just created a waterless steamer. I don't know if we can put it on the slide, but it doesn't matter. It's just steamers that steams without water. So we just switched Red Lobster. Red Lobster is the largest user of steamers in the United States because they steam vegetables, fish, and they went from a regular steamer to our waterless steamer. Interesting enough, so the CEO of Red Lobster called me one day and said, Selim, just to let you know, I already use your water steamer. Now you're basically cannibalizing yourself. I said, yes, it's okay. So one division lost the business, the other division took it up. So we're now changing the business by going after water. We saved Red Lobster 450 million gallons of water per year. Thank you. The next challenge is waste management. So we're going to go after changing the waste. We're going to basically go after waste management, and we're introducing a product today that will basically take food waste into compost or biofuel, and it's very cheap. The payback is less than 6 months. How does a stockholder feel about my attitude of giving away things? I think after Ron Barron and Barron Funds, I'm the second largest shareholder. So I feel very good. But seriously, on another note, I will tell you, I'm not giving anything away. We are priced 25% higher than any other of our competitors. And we grow faster than anybody else. Our margin continue going up. We're not giving anything away. At one point, we would like to basically have people to buy this thing. So this product should be around $100. I'm hoping to be able to subsidize it. And at one point, we need to figure out a way to make money on $100 product. The way my customer have been able to find a way to deliver a pizza at $10 and they make money. Papa John, Domino's, and Pizza Hut. So I need to get better at creating a $100 appliance that will be sold in billions and you'll be able to make money on it. Any other question? Number 12. Oh, you're the person who ate yesterday at P.F. Chang. Thank you. Thank you for eating on our product. But please go ahead with your question.
Thanks for the very amusing and entertaining speech this morning. It definitely inspired me. I'm curious, you mentioned earlier that you moved away from doing dishwashers and you moved away from doing laundry and appliances in that arena. Now that you've found your niche and you are the premier provider in the kitchen, have you had thoughts about going into different sectors and being the leaders? And obviously the pie is pretty big. Is that an opportunity for you?
Yes. The opportunity is to go after, well, we went after food processing. Now we're going after residential and putting all our commercial innovation like that broiler, like the plasma cluster into Viking, like no ability to preheat. One of the other things that used to kill me is when I had my oven at home and at the spur of the moment I wanted to cook my baked croissant that I got from Costco. It took 20 minutes to heat that thing. So then I'm not eating croissant. I said for 20 minutes I need to get back to work or get on my phone. Today we are putting technologies in that residential that requires less than 8 minutes preheat, and we're going to be going to 0 preheat. I want to be able to create the way I do in my commercial. Chefs don't have time to preheat. So I'm going to take that technology, put it in. So going back, we're going into beverage. Beverage is our next forte. We're changing the beverage business. So we bought Wonder Bar, we own Bloomfield, and we just got into coffee. So we bought Concordia, which is one of the leading automated coffee machine in the world. So we are going into changing the beverage business, and that's where we're going next. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.